Welcome. I appreciate y'all sticking with me. A lot of y'all been asking me, hey, when are you going to read some more of the Ann-Margret book? And I hope you don't mind some of the other videos that I'm going to be loading and you probably already heard. I can't do all of the talking, I can do all the reading. But when it comes to some of the other news and articles and information about some of the other legendary figures out there in the world, of course, or stuff about Priscilla, whether you like her or not, I can't do it all as much as I want to do, at least. So without further ado, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking. Find my sister channel, Rare Elvis Photos, or if you happen to be watching this on Elvis and the Legends, well, I'm sorry, if you happen to be watching this on Rare Elvis Photos, which I might put an episode of this Ann-Margret book on there, maybe even this one. Find my Elvis and the Legends. So it's youtube.com at Elvis and the Legends, and it'll be in the description as well. In fact, I might do that. That way I can bring some of y'all over there if you want to come. Alright, so we're on chapter 9 of the Ann-Margret book. It was dark when we arrived in Los Angeles, exhausted but with our idealism intact. We headed for Hollywood and checked into a one-bedroom unit at an inexpensive hotel on Sunset Boulevard. The three guys slept in a living room, sofa, and floor, and I accepted their offer to take the bedroom. We drove to the agency, where our agent greeted us warmly and introduced us around the office as a promising group from Chicago. We got directly to the point. Was there any work? Not at the moment, the agent said, but something will come up, I'm sure of it. When, we asked. Soon. That's a big leap of faith. They just to recap it, they went all the way out to Las Vegas, I think it was. Yeah. Because they thought they had a gig. Nope. They kept the act on that had been before them and said, hey, we don't have a gig for you. And so the agent was like, well, just drive out to LA. So it's about 3.5, 4 hours from Vegas to LA. And so here they are, a group of young people, 3 boys, 3 guys, and 1 girl, Ann-Margret. And they're out there taking a leap of faith, spending their money, spending their gas, spending their time. What could we say? Nothing. But we didn't hide our feelings of disappointment. Listen, kids, he said, jobs pop up every single day. Call here twice a day, at 10 and 4, and we'll tell you whether or not we have something. Well, we called. Every day, Ann-Margret said. Like clockwork. But the answer stayed the same. Sorry, kids. Nothing yet. In the meantime, we rented a Spanish-style duplex in Hollywood Hills, explored the city, and worked on ways to stretch our meager savings. Well, a few weeks later, in early June, it dropped to where we subsisted primarily on toast, hard-boiled eggs, and water. But none of us wanted to give up. Without any job prospects, I finally proposed finding another agent. The Yellow Pages is where we looked for this agent. The same method that she'd used to get her first job. Again, we had nothing to lose, so Scott and I made a list and we auditioned for several agents, anyone who agreed to meet with us. A process we quickly learned wasn't much fun. Now, at one point in this adventure, a wonderfully kind agent named Harry Bloom listened to me and Scott do our routine, eyed my long brown hair, and sent me to audition for the role of Maria in the movie version of West Side Story. Sure, I knew that I'd never get the part, but I still pursued the lead. Now, he gave us the address of the Pierre Cosette Management Company, and we arrived at the right office, but they weren't auditioning for that role. Bobby Roberts, a manager who worked with Pierre, met with us anyways. Well, I told him about the subtle tones. There aren't many jobs, he said. Maybe something will happen in the future. What in the world? The agent that brought him out there said, there's jobs every day. Call me at 10 and 4. They kept calling, nothing happened. And now this other agent said there's not many jobs. I know how that is. I mean, you really got to go out there and you got to go to the venues yourself and to the clubs yourself, and you need to get them to hire you, because agents, no. I mean, they're on the phone. There's nothing better than being in person, and Ann was a beautiful girl. One of the next peregrinations was to the office of Georgia Lund, an agent that I'd found in the phone book. Georgia, a dynamite lady who perhaps was the only woman in Hollywood at the time who owned the specialized in booking small clubs and restaurants. She was great to us. She explained that it was high season in the clubs and most of the acts had been booked at the start of the summer. But something could change. Indeed, several days later she called to say that she'd booked us for 2 weeks at the Villa Marina, a really lovely restaurant supper club in Newport Beach. Now, down to our last pennies, we finally had a real honest-to-goodness job. Without wasting time, we drove to Newport, checked into a nearby hotel, and splurged at the grocery store for the first decent meal we'd had in weeks. Now, Newport Beach was in the peak of its summer social season and a magnet for Hollywood's boating crowd. The Villa Marina was one of the most popular gathering places. Don Sharp from I Love Lucy show came in, and he brought composer Harry Mancini and his wife Jenny, and they invited Mr. and Mrs. Edgar Bergen. Now, I don't know Mr. and Mrs. Edgar Bergen, but, you know, Henry Mancini, obviously, I know, and Don Sharp from the I Love Lucy show, I know that. We performed 3 sets a night, and never to less than a sellout crowd. With good word of mouth, the Villa Marina extended us another 3 weeks. We were ecstatic, and the desperation of the previous weeks evaporated. We lived near the beach and got paid for doing what we loved to do. We were kids, and we were rich by our standards, and we were deliriously happy. As for my relationship with Scott, the difficult times we had been through had taken a toll. We agreed to remain good friends, and I was relieved. He'd wanted us to get married, but I felt too young to be seriously involved with one person. Soon I began dating actor Peter Brown, who starred on the popular Western series Lawman. Peter had seen several of our shows, then introduced himself one night. He was handsome, glamorous, and fun, and we made a date. And we saw each other many times that summer. Now, Peter even took me to several Hollywood parties and premieres. In fact, that was my first introduction to the glitter and hoopla of Hollywood. He also found out that I had never been to Disneyland, so he took me, my parents, and our dear friend, Karen Otteson. Peter handled everything so smoothly, including his fans, and he was always wonderful to them. That's something I've always remembered and admired about him. Now, at the end of our engagement at the Villa, Georgia Lund phoned with another job. 2 weeks at the Commercial Hotel in Elko, Nevada, a town of rugged, friendly cowboys. A town still imbued with a strong sense of the Old West. Singer Vicky Carr, who was just beginning what would be a superb career, was the headliner, and she was great to us. The stage was situated above the bar, and it overlooked several rows of slot machines. Between songs, we overheard gamblers swapping tips on which machines were hot. I didn't play because the money was just too dear to me. Also, I knew my parents would never approve of gambling, and subconsciously, they were always on my mind. Throughout the summer, I had phoned my parents almost daily with descriptions of each performance. My enthusiasm was boundless, infectious, and at the time we reached Elko, my parents made plans to see us in person. They joked that because I always called collect, it would be cheaper to fly to Nevada than pay the long-distance phone bill. Now, let me tell you about that. When I was 17, 18 years old, long distance, of course, was not free for these landlines. And there was a girl I met on a bus. I was going up to Northern California from Southern California, which was about an 8 to 10 hour trip, to my brother David's wedding, who's passed away. Rest in peace, David. And I met this girl on a bus, wrote some songs about her. One of the songs was called Highway 41. Found My Love on Highway 41, kind of a song like that. Anyways, I got back down to the desert in California, and we talked every night. 3 hours, 4 hours. My phone bill was $600, and that was like 1980. Hold on, 1990. Heck, I don't know. 1988, I guess. No. 1993. That made me too young. 1993. $600 every month for a couple months, and then we grew apart. Maybe because I couldn't afford the phone bills. I don't know. But they joked that I always called collect and it'd be cheaper to fly. That's the truth. Their visit made me realize how homesick I was. We swam and caught up on family news. and I bought Mother a gorgeous bracelet at a store I liked downtown. I pointed out that were the hot slot machines with Daddy. Well, in a good-natured way, he wanted to know how I knew such things. Mother supplied the answer. Gus, our little girl is growing up. Well, sure she was growing up, but she didn't gamble. She just heard about it, and that's sweet. Now, I don't think those slot machines were probably hot at that point in time, but you never know. So that's chapter 9, and chapter 10 is coming up next, and I will read more of that, perhaps tomorrow, maybe tonight. And I hope you enjoy the other videos that I make that have to do with articles and stories about Elvis or other people out there, and news things. I will always come on here to read to y'all, okay? And of course, on Rare Elvis Photos, you'll always see what you see over there. That's not going to change. The content won't change at all at Rare Elvis Photos. But I'm hoping to bring you a little bit more well-rounded channel here. That's a lot more than just reading books, okay? And more subjects on other people as well. What do you think so far about this book? So far, Ann-Margret, we discovered she came from a place, Valsjaben or something like that I can't pronounce, in Sweden. Her dad came over to the U.S. first. The mom didn't want to go to the U.S. The dad got hurt. She went to audition. There's a lot that we've learned in just this small amount of pages right here, from page 1 to 63. She went to audition for shows, and she did well talent shows on TV, I think it was even. Her college, that's where she met her boyfriend, I believe, and then they went out and played shows. And then here they are going out to California, living on Sunset Boulevard, and now at the beach. And she's playing in clubs in Nevada and in California. This is a very cool story. All right, TCB, TLC, till next time, this is Elvis and the Legends. I hope you enjoy the channel, hope you enjoy your days, and I hope it's warming up where you're at, okay? All right, till next time.